The episode begins with Isho stepping out of her house, only to be pulled suddenly into a tight hug by Tae. Before she can say a word, he gently brushes his lips against her forehead, leaving her startled and quiet. As the scene shifts, Tae's behavior continues to stay unusually warm and caring, making Isho's heart race. He softly tucks a strand of her hair behind her ear and keeps talking to her in a tone she's never heard from him before. It was clear they were both experiencing a moment far deeper than they expected, and the tension between them kept building. The next scene takes us into a quiet, dim-lit room where the mood is calm but emotionally intense. Tae carefully holds Isho's hand, as if he's scared she might disappear. His voice lowers as he says, "You seem exhausted lately. Are you okay?" Surprised by his concern, Isho asks if he's been pushing himself too hard lately. Tae pauses, then admits he's been overwhelmed, not just with life, but with emotions he can't fully control anymore. He confesses that being around her stirs feelings that confuse him, that he's starting to lose control of the emotions he usually keeps buried. As he speaks, his face turns a soft shade of red. Isho looks at him quietly for a few seconds before nervously smiling and saying, "Well, if you're okay with it, maybe you could come inside for a little while. We could even have breakfast together tomorrow if that's not too strange." Her voice trails off, cheeks burning from the bold invitation. But to her surprise, Tae gently pulls away and says, "No, not tonight. I'll see you later." His expression is unreadable, and before she can ask anything more, he turns to leave. Isho is left confused, wondering why he suddenly shut himself off after opening up like that. She watches him disappear down the street and whispers to herself, "Was I just being foolish? Was he just being polite? Or am I disappointed in myself for expecting something more?" Her thoughts spiral as she realizes he didn't even promise to see her tomorrow, only said they'd meet later. It was the first time he had ever said something like that to her. Something felt off. It was almost like he was trying to pull away. Just as he reaches the end of the path, Isho suddenly calls out, "Wait." Tae turns, surprised, and before he can react, she walks up to him and softly kisses the side of his neck. His eyes widen and his face flushes even deeper. The moment is raw and unexpected, captured perfectly in his stunned silence. Isho lingers for a second before stepping back, giving him space. Tae stands there, overwhelmed, unsure how to respond. They stare at each other without speaking. Then finally, Tae quietly says, "Okay. I'll see you tomorrow," and walks away. As he leaves, Isho feels her cheeks burning and her heart pounding. She murmurs to herself, "That wasn't just my imagination, it really happened." But something about that last moment sticks with her. When she had been close to him, she noticed a faint scent on his shirt, one that didn't feel familiar. It wasn't his usual cologne. It was something that reminded her of another woman. As she wonders about the strange smell, the scene shifts. Tae is now walking home, looking lost in thought. His friend Jay spots him and frowns. "What happened to your clothes? It looks like a cat climbed all over you," he jokes. But then his tone changes. "Hey, should we head out now?" Tae shakes his head. "No, let's stay a little longer. I need to clear my head." Jay watches him closely, noticing something different. "You don't seem like yourself, man," he says. "You've changed. You used to be simple, grounded. Now it's like you're, I don't know, trying to be someone else. Someone who belongs in a world of rich kids and secrets." Jay's words hang in the air, leaving Tae speechless as the episode fades to black. It felt as if he had just stepped out of a painting, unreal and out of place. No matter how I looked at Tae today, I knew one thing for sure, he didn't fit into the outfit he was wearing. It was like trying to dress a teddy bear in something sharp and formal, it just didn't suit him. Watching him, Jay couldn't help but comment that the way Tae stood there made him seem completely different from everyone else. Not just different, he almost didn't belong in the same world. Then, Tae turned to Jay and said, "Starting tomorrow, I'll be leaving on a business trip out of town. While I'm away, I need you to stay here and take care of some of my affairs. Cover a few business responsibilities for me." Jay raised an eyebrow. "Okay, but what exactly do you want me to do?" Before Tae could answer, the scene shifted. Elsewhere, Isho had just spoken with the owner of the store she worked at, informing her that she would no longer be able to continue the job. Hearing this, the shopkeeper grew emotional. With tears in her eyes, she said, "Did I overwork you, Isho? I feel terrible if I pushed you too hard. You were the only one who made things easier for me. When you were around, I didn't even feel the stress of running this place." Isho, slightly surprised, responded, "Was I really that helpful? I didn't even know." The shopkeeper nodded, adding, "You know, this area is buzzing with nightlife. Most workers struggle to handle the night shifts here, especially because of the rowdy drunk customers. People I hired would quit within weeks. She then looked at Isho warmly. But everything changed after you came. Even those kinds of customers stopped coming. I think your presence made this place better. You're a good person, Isho, and I truly hope your life moves forward the way you want it to. Whatever you're chasing, may it come true. Hearing these words, Isho remained quiet, touched. As she left the store after officially quitting, her thoughts started spiraling. It wasn't as if she had suddenly come into a fortune and could afford to quit. The truth was far more painful, she was drowning in debt. The interest kept growing so fast it felt like it might crush her. No matter how hard she worked, the debt never shrank. It was only getting heavier, and carrying that burden had become unbearable. That's when she had made her decision to quit the job she had held onto for so long. And as she walked away from that chapter of her life, she couldn't help but remember flashes of her past. She whispered to herself, to be honest, I know the real reason I made this decision. It wasn't strength, it wasn't courage. It was greed. I just wanted to spend more time with Tae, before the version of him I knew completely faded away. Before Tae could even decide to evolve into a smarter, more refined version of himself, all I wanted was to spend a little more time with him, as much as I could. But now, looking back on all those memories, I can't help but admit it, my greed and my self-destructive habits, like the cigarettes, have brought me to this place. And in the end, you're not even here with me, Tae. I am here alone. Despite everything, my daily routine hasn't changed much. I'm still just as busy as I used to be. I remember, even through all that distance, we still used to text each other. But over time, those texts became fewer, more spaced out. Days would go by without a word. And when we did meet, I couldn't help but notice you smelled different. There was a scent lingering on your clothes. A scent that didn't belong to me. And it wasn't just unfamiliar, it was elegant. It smelled expensive, refined, like something that would belong to a polished, successful woman. Someone whose presence could not go unnoticed. That scent, so rich, so unlike anything I owned, lingered in my mind long after you were gone. As I was lost in those thoughts, a customer entered the shop and brought me back to reality. Is my reservation ready? She asked, smiling. Because it really looks like the one you're working on now is mine. Startled, I stood up abruptly and the woman blinked, a bit surprised at my sudden reaction. Then she laughed lightly and said, excuse me, I hope you don't mind me asking, but what perfume are you wearing? I mean it, please don't take it the wrong way. It's just, the scent coming from you is absolutely lovely. I looked at her, caught off guard. She seemed genuinely interested. Really, she said, a bit bashfully. I didn't think it was that good, especially not good enough for someone as pretty as you to compliment it. She reached for my hand playfully and dabbed a bit of the perfume on my wrist. Here, smell this. Isn't it just wonderful? I just bought it recently. It's light, soft, really cool and sweet. Even guys wear it, it's that versatile. It smells natural too, nothing too synthetic. As I inhaled the scent on my wrist, my eyes widened. That was it. That was the exact smell that had been lingering on Tae's clothes. So that's why I kept noticing that unfamiliar fragrance on Tae. A strange mix of relief and shame washed over me. I had jumped to conclusions, assumed the worst. I had convinced myself that Tae was bored of me, that he didn't enjoy spending time with me anymore, that maybe he had found someone else. But now, knowing it was just this perfume, I felt embarrassed. Still, I laughed softly and said, all right then, next time I see Tae, I'm definitely asking him where he got that perfume from. And honestly, I know I overthink things. I tend to spiral into useless thoughts. And as she says this, she drifts back into some of those unwanted memories. Still, brushing off those thoughts, she gets back to work and murmurs, it's strange, isn't it? At one point, I actually wanted Tae to leave me, to go after someone else, to fall for another girl. But now, Just as she says this, we see a photograph flash on the screen, revealing that the unfamiliar scent lingering on Tae wasn't random at all. It belonged to none other than his secretary, the woman who worked with him daily at his office. The scene cuts. Now we are with Miss Hell, who's telling his girlfriend, can you move up the stairs for a bit? She looks at him, puzzled. Why would I do that? Miss Hell responds with mild irritation, can't you see I'm smoking? And you hate the smell of smoke, don't you? But she looks at him with a determined gaze and replies, so what? I've decided now, I'll stay here with you. I'll breathe in the same air you breathe. And if that's what ends me, then so be it. So don't ask me to leave your side again. Unbeknownst to them, Jae hears this entire exchange. Scene shifts again. Tae may have told Jae that Miss Hell was trying to re-enter Hiso's life. And Jae is visibly upset as he replies to Tae, "Wait, what did you just say? Asterisk her ex-husband, asterisk are you even listening to yourself?" He continues, "Don't you know that Hiso's ex has already moved on? He's in a new relationship. It's been a while now. And there's no child in the picture, no bond to pull him back. Besides, Michel's dumped all his debts on others. He's got nothing left to offer. So why would he come back to Hiso? What reason would he have?" But Tae refuses to back down. "No, that's not it. And I'm telling you, he asterisk will asterisk come back into her life. And do you know why I'm so sure? Because how dare he asterisk how dare asterisk he think he has the right to call her back after everything?" Tae clenches his fists and adds, "So don't expect me to just stand by and be calm about this. Whatever happens next, don't you asterisk dare asterisk let that man come near her. Don't you dare let him back in." And with that intense declaration, the chapter ends. To see what happens next in the story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next episode. Until then, goodbye. Ends. We see Mint's girlfriend heading home after finishing work. She then asks Miss Tell, "Why don't you eat dinner? And if you're in the mood, shall we go out for sushi today?" He replies, "No, today I feel like eating ribs, a Japanese dish." She responds, "Oh really? Then should we go to a nearby hotel and eat that?" But he says, "No, I don't want to go out today. I want to eat homemade food. I'm tired of eating outside every day." So she agrees and says, "All right, then let's go to the grocery store to buy ingredients for dinner." As he starts walking ahead, his girlfriend is left surprised by his words. Blushing, she thinks to herself, "All the things Papa told me, do they mean that God wants us to get married soon? Is this his way of giving me a sign?" In the next scene, both of them have reached home, and Mistel's girlfriend is lovingly preparing dinner for him. She asks him, "Yupa, would you like to come and taste this food?" He replies, "No, just make it the way you are. We are not entering a cooking competition. I'll eat whatever you make, it's fine." She says, "What are you saying? I just asked you to come and see the food. What's the problem in doing that?" Hearing this, Tum Minj gets a little irritated and thinks, what nonsense is she talking about food? Hiso was never like this, she used to cook really good food quickly and without any drama. Then he becomes confused, wondering, by the way, what is Hiso doing right now? Did she answer my call? Why hasn't she replied to my message? Did something happen to her? But then he calms himself, saying, No. I know everything will be fine. Maybe her phone got damaged or she switched it off. I'm sure that's all it is." Then he mutters to himself, "Meanwhile, your husband is starving, and what are you doing right now? Living your best life, I suppose." The scene then shifts. We see Cruz shopping alone in a store for groceries. She says, "From now on, I should probably just buy 1 kilogram of food. But yes, this food item is a bit expensive. A few months ago, it was cheaper. Still, I should buy at least this much." She continues, "Last time, when Tahani came to my house, the food was a little less. That's why I should buy enough this time." But then she gets confused and wonders, am I doing everything right? Are all these things even necessary? Because I know you'll leave me soon and go back to work. Looking at you now, it feels like you've started a new job, and because of that, you're extremely busy. She adds thoughtfully, "You looked so good in that suit. I wonder if you're popular at your office. What kind of work do you even do there? Do you go in early? Are you always this busy? There are so many questions in my heart, and I want to hear all the answers directly from your mouth, not because of anything else, but because I truly want to understand you. You're usually very busy." She was saying this while talking to her neighbor. Then she adds, "Right now, I feel like you don't want to stay with me for long. That's why I'm feeling this way. A few days ago, when we were spending time together, my reaction was a bit strange." She continues, "The way I behaved with TAH when he came to my house recently, did that make him lose interest in me? And yes, that day I was wearing old underwear, maybe that turned him off. I really shouldn't have done that. I know it sounds silly, but it's not that unusual. Manchul used to tell me the same thing, that we women wear such worn-out things, and if our clothes are torn, we should just throw them out. Back then, it really hurt to hear those things from him." She goes on, "I know very well that any man would start losing interest in me if I behave like this. I should wear good-looking clothes. After all, he's just a man, and obviously, he would want me to wear what he likes. So from now on, I'll make sure not to wear such things again. Then she reflects, I already knew he'd go back to work soon. Maybe I should have let him go earlier instead of holding on. I knew I wouldn't be able to finish everything in time, but still, I couldn't stop myself from hoping that maybe, just maybe, TAH would stay at my house a little longer. All these desires I'm feeling, they are only because of you, TAH. She continues, there are so many questions in my mind that I want to ask you. In the next scene, we see Hiso meeting TAH after finishing her shopping. TAH looks at her and says, wow, Hiso, looks like you've done a lot of shopping today. Hiso smiles and replies, you're right, I've bought quite a bit today. He takes the bag from her hands to help her out, saying, this bag of yours is really heavy. He teases, so are you inviting someone over to your place? She quickly responds, no. Nothing like that. And why are you laughing so much while asking that? She says this noticing how much TAH is laughing at the moment. In the next scene, as they walk together, she looks at him and says softly, start again, I'm getting that same smell from your suit, the one I used to notice long ago. Are you wearing the same suit? And did you apply the same perfume as last time? Then she thinks to herself, should I really ask these questions now? No, I shouldn't. I mustn't ask him such things. He might think I'm being too clingy or acting too clever. The truth is, maybe I'm not as special to him as I imagine. So I should stay quiet. And anyway, I'm not even that curious. But despite trying to convince herself, a hint of sadness crosses her face. No, she murmurs, but honestly, I am curious. Why does your suit still carry that smell? Her voice trails off as she becomes visibly sad. Then she whispers, I just hope the scent on your suit isn't from another woman. I'm just hoping it's because you've been so busy with work lately, maybe you changed your perfume, and that's why I'm noticing a new smell, both from you and your clothes. But despite all her hesitation, in the very next moment, she finds herself asking aloud, have you changed your perfume? TAH is caught off guard, shocked for a brief moment, and then quietly settles back into the moment. But then the very next second, he tells her, no, it's not like that at all. I haven't changed my perfume. Hearing this, T's expression drops completely. She becomes a little sad and says, oh really? Is that so? Then, as they keep walking, she tells him, my hand has become completely shabby, and it's badly injured too. From this response and what Tae just told me, I got a clear answer about the scent that's coming from him right now, it's not his. It belongs to someone else and is probably spending time with those people somewhere else right now. Then Den asks, so why did you ask me that? To which she replies, no, just forget it. I'm tired of all this nonsense. I just asked like that. She gives him a slightly rude response and starts walking away quickly. Even Tae calms down after seeing this reaction. Then, in the next moment, we see Tae stay completely quiet for a while. And then he says, Faso, you finally said what I've been waiting for you to say. Yes, I've been wanting to hear this from your mouth for a long time. And yes, I know I pushed you a little too hard to make you say all this, which I probably shouldn't have done. But everything turned out better than I expected, my plan worked really well. You know, whenever I see this expression on your face, my heart starts beating faster. But your reaction also made me realize that there's another twisted side of love I didn't know about, that maybe I can do this to someone else too. Right now, I feel like I've reached the deepest part of your heart. And because of all this, I just want you to fall for me, quickly. The scene shifts. In the next moment, we see Mitchell's girlfriend has cooked food for him. She excitedly says, Oppa, look. I cooked this for you. Don't you love it? Try it quickly and tell me. As Mitch is eating the food she made, she proudly tells him, Oppa, you know you have a really amazing girlfriend. I've never cooked food like this for anyone before. But then Manjul, looking at the dish, says, she didn't even take out the carrots, and she knows I don't like carrots. I also hate cheese. This reminds him of his past when Hiso had cooked food for him. We see a flashback where she asks, Oppa, how did you like the food? Though he found the food not so great, she continues asking questions about it. Then, sensing that Hiso was getting upset, Wichita reassures her. Really, you've cooked amazing food today. Honestly, this is very tasty. That's why I really liked what you made. Back to the present, we see Mitchell not eating much of his current girlfriend's food. Instead, he walks away. Looking at him, she asks, where are you going, love? Aren't you going to eat this? He replies, No, I'm not feeling very hungry today. To that, she replies, what do you mean by this? Weren't you the one who asked me to cook dinner for you today? So can't you even acknowledge that? Are you even eating the food I made for you? Can't you at least do this one thing for me? Could you please eat a little of it, just to make me happy? To this, he says, no, it's not like that at all. I did eat your food in the beans. He then begins to leave the house. Seeing Mitchell's reaction, his girlfriend becomes very upset and asks, what are you even saying? I seriously made so much food for you and this is how you behave. Oppa, are you mad at me? He replies, no, I'm not angry at you at all. And I'm sorry if my reaction hurt your feelings. Then, saying this, he starts to walk out. His girlfriend becomes even sadder and shouts after him, hey, what are you even saying? Are you really going to act like this today? In the next scene, we see Manchu completely ignoring her and walking out of the house. His girlfriend follows him, trying to stop and persuade him. Meanwhile, Jay is standing nearby, watching them closely. The scene then shifts. We see Tae and Hiso arriving at Hiso's house. She tells him, no matter how busy you get with work, don't forget to eat on time, okay? He replies, yes, I understand. And no matter how late it gets, you shouldn't be working all night either. She says, okay, now that you've answered all my questions, why are you leaving so early today? Next time you have time, come over and stay longer. And if you like the food I make, I'll cook it for you again and again. You better remember that. As they talk, Jay is still watching from a distance. He sees that Manchu had shouted at his girlfriend and pushed her away, even when she had come to ask him what was wrong with her cooking and why his mood had changed. Then, after yelling at her, Manchu walks to the side, lights a cigarette, and seems to be calling someone. He's likely messaging the very person who was giving this information to Jay. Once Jay learns of this, he says, Manchu, who exactly are you trying to call so desperately? You know, no matter how much you try, no one will answer your call because there's no one here for you anymore. Back to Hiso, as she talks about eating together, Tae replies, okay, then I'll eat here with you today. And as soon as I'm done, I'll leave. Surprised, she asks, does this mean you're staying here tonight? They both fall silent for a while. The moment becomes very quiet and emotionally charged. Then he says, yes, today I want to stay. You know, I've held myself back for a long time from doing all the things I've always wanted to. Then, in the very next second, he asks, so, can I come to your house and sleep with you tonight? Just as this is happening, we see Manchu desperately calling Hiso. And then, from the background narration, we are told, this is the first real gift Manchu is receiving because he doesn't have much time left to find out all the truths he needs to know. And even he is now wondering where the story is headed. Then the narration adds, it's clear this is the kind of story that will make us all cry deeply. And the chapter ends here. So guys, what will happen? Let's continue. Nasu looked genuinely taken aback by Beaumonte's words, her face flushing with embarrassment. She stumbled over her explanation, prompting Bom to approach her slowly and ask if she didn't want to, whatever it was. Flustered, Nasu quickly denied it, insisting he had misunderstood. It wasn't that she didn't want to, it was just that day. Her cheeks turned even redder. Beaumonte couldn't help himself, he burst out laughing, which only made Nasu more confused and annoyed. She pushed at him lightly, trying to emphasize that she was being serious. Still chuckling, Bom finally admitted he just wanted to spend time with her again, something they hadn't done in a while. He gently wrapped an arm around her, and with a playful smile, he confessed it'd be a lie to say he didn't have certain thoughts. He'd even brought a change of clothes and taken the next day off. Leaning in, he whispered in her ear, asking to be let in, leaving Nasu's entire face glowing crimson. Meanwhile, in another part of town, Mitchell was growing more anxious by the minute. He kept calling Nasu, but no one was answering. He muttered a quiet curse, frustrated by the silence. It had already been a few days since he last messaged her, and still, nothing. What was stopping her from replying? He wondered if something bad had happened, had the loan sharks returned while he was gone. But he shook the thought off. They'd always struggled to pay off the principal, sure, but the interest was sent regularly. Times had changed, trouble from loan sharks was rare now. Maybe she was sick. That didn't seem likely either. Nasu was always full of energy, juggling multiple jobs for years without ever showing signs of slowing down. Still, the thought lingered. What if this time was different? Something serious? No. The Nasu he knew wasn't someone who went down easily. His mind drifted back to a memory, one winter day when Nasu had a cold. He'd pointed at her face, teasing, "Is your nose dripping again?" Her hands had felt ice cold. "What are you, a snowman?" he joked. She mumbled that it was just winter. In his typical teasing way, Mitchell pulled off his shirt and guided her freezing hands to his bare chest, claiming he was helping her warm up. She screamed in protest, but he only laughed, amused by her embarrassment. Nasu had always been sensitive to the cold. That terrible semi-basement apartment they once shared used to turn into an icebox in winter. Her hands were always red, always cold. She'd constantly be battling a cough or runny nose. That's the Nasu Mitchell remembered, a girl born into harsh conditions, always toughing out the cold. He had once asked her grandmother how they managed during those bitter winters. She chuckled softly, saying they barely managed. Mitchell joked about her having a secret winter survival trick. Her husband interrupted, saying any man worth marrying should warm his wife with his arms. Her grandmother snapped back, "Girls don't need husbands. They need thermals." Sometime after that, Mitchell surprised Nasu with a gift. She asked what it was and he just grinned, urging her to open it. Inside was a skin-toned thermal set. She stared at it, speechless. He burst into laughter, calling her reaction priceless. Nasu insisted she wouldn't wear it. He teased her, but also reassured her he wouldn't laugh if she wore it. "It's better than catching a cold," he said. He even promised, hand on heart. Still, he couldn't help it, he knew he might laugh anyway. So he tried to brace himself, thinking of something sad, anything to keep himself serious. He even imagined breaking up with Nasu, but the thought hit him like a punch to the chest. That wasn't something he could even joke about. The mere idea of being without her made him too sad to laugh anymore. Nasu stepped out in the thermal wear, nervously asking how she looked. "Does it look weird?" she asked, self-conscious. Mitchell's face flushed a deep red. When she began to say she'd change out of it, he quickly stopped her. "No, it's not weird at all," he said, his voice rushed. "How do you still look this beautiful in something like that?" His cheeks burned, and when Nasu asked if he was feeling okay, he could barely hold himself together. Was he coming down with something? Or just overwhelmed by her presence? Days passed. Miniel, never missing a chance to tease, warned Nasu half-jokingly that she should stop wearing things like that. "Even a glimpse of you," he said, "and I can't help but feel turned on." Then he paused, wondering silently, when did she stop saying winters were cold? The scene shifted. At Nasu's small home, Biamonte was getting dressed while Nasu laid out the futon. "I brought a blanket," she said, flipping the switch to turn off the lights. "You lie down first." As they settled in, Biamonte glanced at her outfit and gently asked, "Aren't you going to change? That looks uncomfortable." "I'm fine," she replied. "I don't really have pajamas." "What about the ones you usually wear?" he asked. Her answer was vague. Biamonte's thoughts wandered back to a time he had trusted her too easily and regretted it. Now, once again, he felt her pulling away. Nasu tried to explain. "Those pajamas, they make me look like some tacky auntie. I didn't want you to see me like that." Biamonte was taken aback. He leaned in, kissed her forehead gently. I don't even know what to say to that, he admitted with a soft laugh. I can't decide if I should feel relieved by your honesty or worried. He realized then how much he had been holding back, how drained he felt without even noticing. He touched her back, a mix of desire and restraint in his gesture. What you're wearing now might make it hard for me to behave, he murmured, but I don't hate it. He encouraged her to change before sleeping. I can change myself, she said quietly. I know, he replied, but let me help. And gently, almost reverently, he began to undo her clothes. As his hands moved, Biamondi's thoughts turned inward. If something this small made me uncomfortable, I should have never come this far. But that wasn't who he was. His feelings ran deeper than impulse or hesitation. If my love was shallow, I wouldn't have dared to fight for her. Whatever she chose to do, even if she shattered his heart, he would endure it. This time, he only hoped he would be the one to stay by her side. Meanwhile, at the office, Ari questioned an employee about Mitchell's whereabouts. He's on leave, the employee replied flatly. Why wasn't I informed, she asked, annoyed. With a shrug, the employee answered, Mitchell isn't part of the Kim family. He does what he wants. Elsewhere, Jay had been quietly following Mitchell and sent a message to Bum, who read it in silence. Mitchell finally arrived at Nasu's house. He noticed the trash had been taken out.
Hello guys, welcome back in Goku Manhwa. Let's continue.
Jay leaned against the rusting railing at the edge of the abandoned metro platform, eyes fixed on the figure disappearing into the shadows of the underpass. Middle-Ada moved like someone who didn't just know the city's veins, she was the city. Her every step seemed rehearsed, precise, animalistic. Jay exhaled slowly. How the hell does she know, he muttered under his breath. She had vanished after the Ambrose incident. Everyone swore she wouldn't return. And yet, here she was, same route, same caution, same ghost-like calm. Minutes later, Jay's earpiece crackled to life. She's taking a different exit than usual, Theo's voice murmured, hushed but urgent. Jay's eyes narrowed. I figured, he whispered, already on the move. Somewhere miles away, Theo stood in the warehouse's low-lit hallway, staring at a vibrating phone on the floor. The screen blinked, Guile, arriving soon. Max an hour. Theo picked it up without reacting, just letting the words sink in. He walked with cold clarity toward the door, barely noticing the pair of worn shoes resting beside the mat. He hesitated. The faint smell of cedar and something floral lingered in the air, dragging him back to a week ago, her room, silent and sunlit, a place she thought was private. He hadn't meant to go in, not really. But once he was there, he couldn't stop. Her bookshelf, her incense, the Polaroids tucked behind the mirror, and the drawer. The delicate, daring fabric folded inside it had pulled something out of him he didn't expect. Excitement. Guilt. Both. He didn't touch it then. But now. Theo knelt by the same drawer, pulled it open, and stared at the garment again. He let it slip from his hand and fall softly to the floor, like dropping a match on gasoline. Then from his jacket pocket, he drew out a small black box, unwrapped it slowly, inside, a small silver key. He placed it beside the fabric with reverence as though he were planting a flag in foreign soil. Then he peeled off his shirt, not out of vanity but ritual. He stood there in silence, breathing hard, waiting. For across the city, Middle-Ada trudged up the stairs to the old row house on the hill. She muttered curses between breaths. Why are your damn stairs always so steep, Hailey? She paused, hand on the rail. Drag me all the way here again, huh? You must think I've got nothing better to do. Still ignoring my calls. Still too stubborn to get checked out at the hospital, just to save a few bills. She laughed dryly to herself, the sound hollow. Can't take my eyes off you for a second. Her steps slowed as she reached the porch. What would you do without me? She froze. 3 black trash bags sat at the doorstep, neatly tied, like offerings or warnings. She squinted, a grin spreading slowly. What's this, then? Trying to get my attention again? She kicked one lightly with her boot. You think leaving these out here's gonna hurt me? She crouched down, poked one open with her finger. Inside was nothing but paper scraps and fabric. But the scent caught her off guard. Familiar. Hers. Her eyes flicked to the door. It was unlocked. Inside, the hallway was dim. Quiet. But something buzzed. The old apartment door creaked open before Midalada could stop herself. Her eyes immediately dropped to the shoes on the floor and her breath hitched. Men's boots. Not his. Not Jay's. Someone else had been here. Her chest tightened, confusion swirling with something darker. Anger. Fear. She stepped inside slowly, boots silent against the wooden floor. Why would he leave these out, she whispered. It felt staged. A signal. The air was warm, too warm. Like the heat left behind after bodies moved quickly, or after something had gone terribly wrong. With every step down the hallway, her pulse climbed. Then, a flicker. A shape. A shadow cast by the half-closed door ahead. She reached for the handle and stopped. A presence lurked behind it. Not just presence, but intent. Midalada pushed it open slowly, revealing Theo slouched near the window, his face half in shadow, a strange stillness cloaking his frame. Something primal churned in her gut. He didn't move, just sat there watching her like he'd been expecting this moment for years. She took one cautious step inside. Where is he? She asked, voice calm but deadly. Theo didn't answer. Just tilted his head. Midalada's hand twitched toward her belt. She wasn't sure whether to draw her blade or her breath. And then from behind her, a sound, someone else. She spun, just as Jay entered the room, eyes immediately locking on Theo. Jay's expression shifted in an instant. Recognition. Rage. Betrayal. You? Jay's voice broke as he advanced. What the hell did you do? Theo didn't even blink. He reached into his coat, pulled something out, a crumpled photograph, and dropped it at Jay's feet like a challenge. Ask her, he said, nodding toward Midalada. She started this. Jay lunged without thinking, knocking the chair backward as Theo rolled away and braced against the dresser. The room ignited with violence. Years of tension erupted between them, grief, secrets, obsession, all boiling into a moment where no one remembered who was right or wrong. Only that Hailey was missing. And someone had to bleed for it. Theo stood in eerie stillness, his expression unreadable as Mitchell paced in front of him, hurling questions and accusations into the room's tense silence. Then, without warning, Theo's calm cracked like glass. His eyes darkened feral, sharp, and he lunged forward, gripping Mitchell's face with both hands. She gave you one chance, Theo growled, voice low and venomous. Then with brutal precision, he slammed Mitchell's head against the ground, the echo thudding through the cracked walls. Mitchell gasped in pain, blinking as stars danced in his vision. Theo let go and stood up slowly, his chest rising with restrained fury. Mitchell pushed himself up, stunned. What the hell are you talking about, brat? But before he could move again, Jay appeared from the hallway like a ghost conjured by chaos. He raised his eyebrows, smiling dryly. Wow. Someone's finally had enough. Without wasting a moment, he grabbed Mitchell by one arm while Theo took the other, dragging him upright. If you two want to break something, let it be each other, but do it outside, Jay muttered. Still reeling, Mitchell snarled, and who the hell are you supposed to be? Jay turned to him, sarcastic. Oh, I'm terrified. Let's go, tough guy. With a jerk, he pulled Mitchell toward the back entrance. We can finish this chat with some fresh air. Outside, the alley was cold and wet, slick with last night's rain. Mitchell thrashed against their grip. Let me go, damn it. His eyes darted around, searching where's Jay. Then locked on Theo, who had blood trailing down his temple. That old anger stirred in Mitchell's chest. Asterisk still playing the victim, asterisk it was almost theatrical. Almost pathetic. Jay shoved him forward, and Mitchell landed hard on the pavement. What is this? You goons. I've paid everything I owe. He spat. Jay's voice was low and calm. You can believe what you want. Mitchell stood, teeth bared. What did you do asterisk to him? He lunged, grabbing Jay by the collar. Where is he? Asterisk, tell me, asterisk. Jay's eyes didn't blink. If we had done something to him, would you have paid his debt? His voice sharpened, bitter. With what? A kidney. A lung. Mitchell froze. Then yelled, desperate, tell me where he is. Payment. Fine, I'll pay. I'll pay whatever you want, highly blurted, her voice breaking as she stepped forward, trembling. Her eyes were wide, flicking between faces, reading nothing but blank coldness. We've been paying off that debt. Every month. Quietly. So why now? Why this sudden circus? She swallowed hard, voice cracking with panic. I'm going to pay you back in full. I swear. Just tell me where Jay is. Please. But the room was silent. Dry silence. No one answered. She spun around. He's not here either, is he? Her hands clenched. I've been tearing myself apart trying to find her. Both of them. Don't play this game with me. Meanwhile, somewhere across town, Teo's phone buzzed in his pocket. He pulled it out slowly, read the message, don't clean anything up. Just wait. A slow grin spread across his face. He tucked the phone away and turned, finding Hailey again, eyes dancing with mischief. Back in the alley, Jay leaned against a rusted dumpster, his gaze fixed on Mitchell, whose breathing had turned heavy, furious. Jay's voice was casual, almost amused. You know, our boss loves hunting down debtors. Loves it. It's like sport to him. He gestured toward Mitchell lazily. So don't blame us. If she really means something to you, if she's your woman, then you better be the one to find her. Before he does. Mitchell gritted his teeth, fists tightening until his knuckles turned pale. Jay kept speaking, his tone low but sharp. Before we found her, things were a lot simpler. He paused, as if replaying a memory. And my friends, this whole thing. This was cinematic. None of us saw it going this far. Not like this. His voice darkened. Teo did worse than I imagined. The air hung heavy with tension. Mitchell suddenly grabbed her hand. Hey, what are you doing? Let go, Ari protested, trying to pull away. But he said nothing, just pulled her inside with a quiet urgency. I'm still mad at you, she snapped, voice trembling with restrained anger. Do you think I'm some fool who'll forgive everything just because it's you? Mitchell didn't answer. Instead, he kissed her deep, desperate, and sudden. It wasn't gentle. It wasn't planned. It was as if something inside him had broken loose, something raw and restless. Ari gasped, breathless. I can't breathe, she whispered. Slow down a little. But his hands trembled as they held her, like he was clinging to something vanishing before his eyes. Wait. Mitchell, hold on. He silenced her with a thumb under her chin, tilting her face up to meet his eyes. Call me Mitchell, he said, voice low but firm. And then everything unraveled. Emotions collided, grief, love, fear, fury, all tangled in a mess neither of them could control. Even in the middle of it, his mind wouldn't stop spinning. It's just anxiety, he told himself. It has to be. Sue always came back. No matter what happened, no matter who hurt her, she came back. To me. That's how it's always been. But the doubt crept in like a poison. What if that guy made the first move? What if he touched her with those hands? She must have escaped. She always did. Debt collectors, danger, Sue always ran, always survived. But the image of Ben wouldn't leave his mind. What if she didn't run this time? What if she gave up? If her heart had broken while he was away, where was she now? Those scattered things in that room. That guy's eyes, the look that said she was already his. Later, as Ari lay beside him, her back to him and tears staining her cheeks, she whispered through trembling sniffles, "I hate you. Don't ever ignore my calls or messages again." Minchell stared at her back, quiet. "It's just paranoia," he repeated silently. "Just paranoia, damn it." Elsewhere, at the entrance of a dimly lit apartment, Sue stood frozen. Her eyes followed the muddy shoe prints trailing across the floor, beamed shoes, one tossed carelessly to the side. Her stomach dropped. For a heartbeat, she couldn't move. Then, panic surged through her. She ran inside, calling his name, Bean. Her voice cracking as she slammed the door open. There he was. Slumped on the floor, shirtless, back against a cupboard. Bruises marred his face, and his eyes, distant, empty. Sue's steps slowed as she took in the sight before her. Her voice cracked, barely holding itself together. What happened to your face? Was it the loan sharks? Did they come for you? Did they threaten you, try to use you to get to me?" But Bam didn't answer. His empty gaze was fixed on her, distant, unreadable. The silence wrapped around them like ice. A flicker of panic crept into Sue's voice. If it wasn't them, then... A memory hit her like a whip, Mitchell's smug face, the last thing she saw before he walked away. "See you again next time." Her chest tightened, breath catching in her throat. She took a shaky step forward. "Ken Minkyil, he came here, didn't he? You fought him. These bruises, he did this to you. And don't lie to me, you didn't even hit him back, did you?" Bam said nothing at first. Then finally, in a whisper barely audible, came his confession. "Yes." Sue's heart sank. She could barely stand the sight of him like this, battered, quiet, torn up inside. He stared at her, and something unspoken echoed in his eyes. "Why are you looking at me like that, Sue? Like I'm the one who broke your heart? Are you angry because I fought him? Because I didn't hold back? Is he still that important to you, even now?" But before that storm of thoughts could swallow him whole, Sue moved. Without a word, she dropped to her knees and wrapped her arms tightly around him, clinging to him as if she could hold his pain in place. Bam froze, stunned by the sudden warmth, the tremble in her breath. "Why did you do it?" she whispered, her voice cracking under the weight of tears. "Why? You knew what kind of person he is. You should have just stayed away." But Bam could only think. Stay away? How could I? He wasn't going to stop. He would have shattered everything to get to you. Her face was buried in his chest, her tears soaking into his skin like rain on dry earth. Her voice, muffled and trembling, broke the silence. "Do you even know how often that man gets into fights? Why would you jump into something so reckless? You always end up hurt. Why would someone like you, someone so gentle, try to fight back?" Bam didn't answer right away, but a small, crooked smile tugged at his lips. His shoulders began to shake. Sue stilled. She felt it, subtle at first, then unmistakable. "Bam. Are you crying?" Her voice cracked. "Does it hurt that much?" His face was hidden in the crook of her shoulder, his breath hot against her skin. "Yeah," he whispered. "It really hurts." Her arms tightened around him, heart splintering all over again. Then he added, almost like a child reliving a nightmare. He suddenly started yelling. "I didn't know what to do. I got scared." That broke her. Sue pulled back in alarm, brushing his hair gently, trying to make sense of it all. "It's my fault. All of this. I should have protected you from him. Come on, we need to clean your wounds. Let me get some medicine." But Bam stopped her. His arm circled her with unexpected strength, pulling her back before she could rise. His grip was firm, yet trembling, like he was afraid of letting go. Then, in a breathless shift, he rolled her onto the floor, caging her gently beneath him. Sue's breath hitched, eyes wide as he hovered above her, gaze intense and unwavering. Forget the medicine, he murmured. And then, slowly, he pressed a kiss to her chin, then lower, the soft trail of warmth making her gasp. Bam, wait, she stammered, cheeks burning. We have to treat those wounds. If we don't, they'll scar. But he wouldn't budge. Her hands lightly pushed against his chest, half-hearted. You're unbelievable. Getting all bold while I'm scolding you. You're worse than a stray mutt. His long limbs boxed her in completely, overwhelming her, surrounding her in warmth and something deeper. His voice dropped, teasing and tender all at once. My lips are torn, he said softly, his grin lazy but aching with unspoken things. The inside of my mouth's cut. Then, with a glint in his eye, he whispered against her.
And then, the night unfolded. Their bodies tangled once more, lost in the wildfire of love and longing. She lay beneath him, her breath catching, eyes locked into his, and in the haze of heat she whispered, make me forget his name completely, let the only name I remember be yours. But by morning, things had shifted. Sue sat beside him, gently dabbing ointment onto his bruises. Her face was firm, tough, even as her touch stayed tender. If this scars, she warned, narrowing her eyes. You're dead. Biam just laughed. Then, while rising up, she asked, you're going to work today too, aren't you? Get changed and come out. We'll head out together once you're ready. But he added, casually, you can stay here, you know. Now at the door, she looked back at him and scoffed. What? Do you think I'm some kind of perv? You think I want to watch you get dressed? He chuckled. You seem to like it. She rolled her eyes. No, I don't. Then, crossing her arms, she muttered, I'll be outside, so hurry up and get ready. With that, she stepped out. Biam smiled to himself, then started to dress. But as he slipped on his shirt and went to tie his necktie, he paused. Something about the moment held him still. Then, he slowly undid the tie. From outside the door, Sue called out, Biam, are you done? But as she opened the door, there he was, standing right in front of it. Not quite ready. I'm almost done, he said, but I'm still not very good at this. Looking directly into her eyes, his voice softened. Please, help me. She stepped inside, surprised. You have trouble tying neckties? He nodded. Yeah. Then how did you manage before? Holding the undone tie in his hands, he replied. I just asked someone else. Someone who knew how. And for a moment, Sue hesitated. It must have been someone he trusted. Someone close enough to ask something that small, yet so personal. Then she stepped closer, smiling gently. All right. I'll tie it for you. Just bend down a little. It's hard because you're so tall. He lowered himself, obediently, sweetly, like a child waiting patiently for help. As she fixed the tie, his eyes stayed on her. A smile tugged at his lips. Standing like this, we look like a married couple. Without glancing up, she said flatly, what are you talking about? He grinned. Don't we look like a couple? No, we don't. Yes, we do. I said no, but before she could finish, she gave his tie a playful yank, pulling him slightly forward. He laughed, surprised. Then, after a moment, she muttered, it's done. But Biam leaned in, just a little closer, his voice dropping to a whisper. Tighten it a bit more, please. And then, his lips brushed hers once again, soft, intentional. As they parted, Sue's face was flushed, red with embarrassment. She quickly turned away. Taking a step back, she said, with a straight face, marriage is a reality. So if you find someone who suits you, you should marry. I'll congratulate you. But watching her, Biam said nothing. In his mind the words echoed. You're lying. His hands slipped into his pockets. His eyes lingered on her. Last night, those lips kissed my wounds. But this morning, they tore my heart apart. Adjusting his tie, he thought to himself, so deceitful, so lovely. You are Sue. Later, at the office, Biam walked alongside his secretary, issuing instructions in his usual steady tone. It'll report back before then. Just make sure the supplementary materials are included. But as he spoke, she couldn't help but glance up at him. That face, those bruises, she thought to herself. He's always been a bit strange. His presence has this eerie quiet to it, so I never paid it much mind. But today, that wound across his cheek had everyone whispering the moment he walked in. And what unsettled her more wasn't the injury. It was his smile, that oddly cheerful expression, and the distance, the space between them, just slightly wider than usual, deliberate. Why is he standing that far away? She wondered. But before she could finish that thought, someone snatched the file from her hands. Startled, she flinched and turned to see Biam's older brother, leaning over her shoulder from behind. His voice came low and teasing. twisted into something a little cruel. What are you staring at so intently? She didn't answer, but he grinned. Having a good afternoon, are we? Then, his tone dropped, cooler now. Our lovely secretary is great and all, but that perfume, phew, a little too strong today, don't you think? She gasped. Just a little, and he leaned in, smirking. I wonder who you were trying to impress, coming to the office like that. Was it me by any chance? He laughed at his own taunt, holding both hands in mock surrender. Then, turning his attention to BM, he stepped closer. Hey, little bro. He draped an elbow over BM's shoulder, still laughing. Don't you have a special someone? Who'd be upset if you walked around reeking of another woman's scent? But BM didn't flinch, didn't blink, just stared at him, cold and silent. The brother pulled back. Chi. Not even a reaction? Who am I even talking to? Then a grin slowly curled on his lips. Still, you getting beat up like that? It's kind of a good look for you. He tilted his head, amusement flickering in his eyes. What happened, huh? Got into some jealous lover spat over a married woman? He burst into laughter, amused at his own crude joke. Later that night, under the dim glow of a street lamp, a bodyguard held out a lighter, helping BM's brother light his cigarette. The first drag he took was long, slow. Then, without looking, he said, I need you to find someone. The guard raised an eyebrow. Who might that be, sir? The brother blew out a stream of smoke. Calm, calculated. My little brother's girlfriend. The bodyguard stiffened, just slightly, and the brother caught it. What's with that reaction? Nothing. I just never imagined the second young master could be seeing anyone. To that, the brother chuckled darkly. Exactly. I couldn't believe it either. But he's definitely seeing someone. I'm positive. His gaze sharpened. He's got that look, like he's hiding something, trying to protect it. Dropping ash from his cigarette, he muttered under his breath. Lately, I've been in a really shitty mood. My little brother treats me like I'm some stray mutt that wandered in from a back alley. He took another drag, exhaling slowly. So find her, no matter what. I need to know what kind of woman she is.